All right, so we got an interesting clip to comment on today, or let's say a discussion between two people, between our brother Sneako and this person Myron Gaines. I think he has a personal channel as well. And what's going to make this discussion even more interesting is he comments on me first before he goes in discussion with Sneako. And now, why does he comment on me? Let me just give a bit of a background and context for people who are not aware of what's happening. Now, this person has made a few recent tweets about Islam that are anti-Islamic in their own nature. He claims to be a Muslim, but he made one that kind of went viral in a way, or was viewed by many, many people, where he was talking about like Muslims praying in Times Square and we're asserting dominance or something like that, and your guests in this country shouldn't be doing that and stuff like that. And in the end of that tweet, he says that let's have a discussion about this. We need to talk about this as Muslims. So I quote tweeted his tweet, and then I invited him to a discussion because he's saying, let's discuss, or let's talk about this, right? And then he didn't respond. So I kind of removed the tweet after. Then there's also a video of him doing the same thing, saying literally the same thing, but on video.
All right? They're shutting down Times Square, praying with loudspeakers to do what? To assert dominance. Okay? That's what they're really doing. I'm not stupid.
I also quote tweeted that and commented on something that he said, which was completely ridiculous, to be honest. He was comparing like Times Square to Mecca. And essentially, the point was, if you're going to talk about Islam, then I called him out to a discussion. He completely ignored it. So I was streaming. I was live streaming. I did the regular non-Muslim Q&A live stream. And then after that, after I ended my non-Muslim Q&A stream, I realized that he's live. So I restarted the stream. And I told viewers to go to his channel and ask him to, let's have a discussion, let's talk. So my viewers went and like commented on his stream, talked to Muslim Lantern, basically talk to me, let's have a discussion.
Someone said debate Muslim Lantern. Debate him on what? Bro, I don't even know who this is, number one. Debate him on what? There's nothing to debate. Anyway.
And why are we saying let's have a discussion? Because you are talking about Islam. You are claiming to be a Muslim, which is even more dangerous in this case. So you're pretending to be one of us in a way, and or you're claiming to be one of us in a way, and at the same time attacking our tradition, attacking our faith, attacking our brothers and what they're doing. So when we're calling you out to have a discussion, it's a very normal thing. So that's essentially what happened. He completely ignored it. He made certain comments, which he would repeat in the clip that I'm about to watch right now. And let's see what he says about me. Let's see the things that he's going to say about me. And we're going to further comment on it. But I think you'll find it very interesting, because right after that, he's going to have a discussion with our brother Sneako on the claims that he was making, basically, about Muslims in America, or generally in the West, we can even say, about them praying in the square. And I think Sneako did a brilliant job. So we're going to watch that and comment on it.
Look, let me tell you guys something real quick, because I'm just going to address this one time and we're on party, so I'll go ahead and I'll say it. You guys were spamming this Muslim Lantern. Bro, I don't know this guy. I don't care to talk to him. I don't give a shit about his opinion at the end of the day. I don't know who he is. Like, until you guys mentioned him, he had his people.
He's a friend of mine.
Come
He's a
in.
good guy.
Okay. Yeah, they had a bunch of his people came in and spam my chat. Bro, I'm not going to drop everything I'm doing to talk to some random guy that I don't know or give a shit about. Why would I do that? I'll go ahead and have a discussion with Sneako because I respect Sneako. I like Sneako. And his opinion of what he thinks matters. But I don't give a what some random, who's clearly clout chasing, by the way, has to say. Dude got on stream, right, just to spam my chat. And then as soon as I stopped paying attention to it, because I was covering the news, yeah. Literally, as soon as I stopped paying attention to it, and I was like, all right, I'm going to focus on this, he got off stream. He literally got on stream just to try to start some shit. It's like, yo, got a planned stream. It's my stream back. I'm not going to debate with some random that I don't even know who the this guy is.
Yeah, especially in your first party stream.
And it's like, I don't know this guy. And
okay, so let's, before like I let him say the rest of what he's going to say, because he doesn't stop there. So obviously, we already explained the part that, oh, I just got on the stream so I can talk to him. I've already was doing the non-Muslim Q&A. And like I said, right after I ended, I realized that he was live, so I restarted the stream. So it's not like, oh, I just planned in a day specifically, when is this person going to be live or something? And I decided to do that. So that's the first thing. But why does that even matter? Let's assume I just started the stream and just so I can arrange a discussion with you or have the viewer speak to you so we can talk. What's the problem with doing that? Like, where's the argument there? Like, how does that make what I did such a horrible thing. Then you say you have a plan, that you organize a plan, you have like plans to do in the stream. No worries, okay. We don't need to talk in that stream. What did I say? Let's talk today. 24/7, we have to talk. And then you said I ended my stream after. Yes, because the purpose was, like I said, I saw you live. You've been making many posts. I've called you out on Twitter. You've ignored it. So I said, okay, let's have a discussion. So yes, you refused to have a discussion. You avoided it. So I ended the stream. It's a very simple thing. But like you're trying to make this big deal out of it, that just because I started the stream and ended the stream. And this is the funny thing. He pretended that he didn't have any clue what's going on. But he was watching my stream, right? He opened my page, as he's saying, and he saw that I started the stream, and he saw that I ended the stream. And during his live, he pretended that he doesn't even see what's going on. But he clearly went and opened a new page and watched my stream and saw that I opened the stream about him, and I ended the stream, and he was seeing what's going on. But he didn't accept the discussion. Like I said, you didn't have to do it on that live stream. I didn't give you, like, say, okay, you have to speak today, or we wouldn't speak at all. No, the point was to invite you to a discussion about Islam, about the things that you said. I have nothing against you anyways. Like, I have no problems with you. I have personal problems with people, but I have problems with the claims that you've made about Islam. Now, what's really funny, now you guys are going to see like the really, really funny part, because what does he keep repeating there? I don't know who this guy is. I never heard of this guy. I don't know who this guy is. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight on the screen where, like, this is probably a year ago or 2 years ago. I'm not sure. Like, I think it's a year ago, where he was asking Muslims, because some of our Dawah brothers, they went on his podcaster channel and they had like a debate or whatever with Christians. You will see him making a post, and you will see him tagging my handle literally in the post and asking for a debate. So he's asking me to join, to represent the Muslim side against the Christian side in a debate. And he's literally tagging my handle. And then he says he doesn't know who I am. And by the way, that was the first time there was any type of interaction between me and him. He initiated it by literally mentioning me in one of his posts. So I went directly into his DMs and I DM'd him, because what's the point of like responding to the post? Like, he kind of mentioned me so he can see if I'm interested in a debate or a discussion. So I DM'd him, and then I'll put some of the messages on the screen, not the full messages, but the point is, because I don't really like showing messages. But in this case, I just want to show how this guy is like pretending, completely pretending. Why would you pretend? Like, if you don't want to have discussions, fine. But don't like outwardly, like clearly lie like you don't know who I am, when you literally, like I said, you mentioned my name yourself. You started doing that. You mentioned my name. And then after you did that, I DM'd you. And then you literally in the DM say, are you that lantern guy that talked about me? So you were aware that I mentioned you before in one of the streams of Sneako. Sneako asked me about you, actually. It's not that I mentioned you like this, but Sneako played one of your clips and then I commented on it. And then you saw that. And in fact, you insulted me in one of your streams after. And now you're pretending you don't know who I am. So all of that happened, all of that context. Like, he tags me in his post. We spoke on the DMs, like I'm going to highlight in the screen. By the way, I left him on red in September because he asked me after that debate happened. He wanted to organize another debate. And he sent me a DM, but I wasn't interested, so I didn't respond. So now he's saying he doesn't know who I am. Well, like I said, literally, this guy DM'd me, mentioned my name, tagged me, and spoke about me before. But now he's like, I don't even know who this guy is. Come on, it's really a bad look. Honestly, it's a bad look.
I know.
PBD just attacked him last week.
Okay, then go talk about PBD. Like, I don't know.
I want to see that. I want to see that debate. But
like, I don't know or give a about this guy. Like, I don't give a shit. Like, and at the end of the day, I'll be honest. Like, bro, you're not relevant. So it's like, why am I gonna go ahead and have a discussion with you about this shit?
He's a pretty big stream.
Not really, bro. Not really. I was looking at his numbers after these dudes were spamming his name in there, bro. He literally got on stream just to call me out. That's weird. When I have a planned stream, I have my topics and shit like that. Had you come.
Okay, let me just like quickly just respond to this point. Not that it really matters, but let me just respond to this other fake point. Because what I'm highlighting here is he's avoiding the discussion because he knows what's going to happen if we had that discussion. We're going to clearly show how low IQ the points that he's been making about Islam, and he's going to look really bad in front of his people. So he doesn't want to have the discussion for that reason. So now he's making up completely nonsensical excuses. So first, that he doesn't know who I am, when he clearly does. Now, secondly, he's claiming what? He is claiming that I'm a cloud chaser, that I'm trying to get views. And Sneako tells him that I have a big stream, not that I am like bragging that or anything. but I have usually more views than he does on YouTube anyways. Like he had 2K or something. And my stream goes up to like 4 to 5K. Like I said, it doesn't really matter. These are all numbers in the end. It doesn't really matter. But if you go on my channel, just watch the videos I have. Look, just scroll through my channel. I can show it on the screen. Scroll through my videos, and you're gonna see like my videos are like 80K, 100K, 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 150, 160, 180. Overwhelming majority of the videos are over 100K. Very few videos are going to be under 100K, and I believe nothing is probably going to be under 70K. Let's see. Now watch his main channel, their main channel, him and his partner, and go like scroll over his videos. You're gonna find 10K, 15K, 30K, 40K, and this channel is like 1.4 million subscribers or something. It's like 3 times my channel, and these are the views he's getting. Watch his own main channel. It's the same thing: 30K views, 20K views, whatever. Like, why would I need to cloud chase when I'm literally doing better numbers? If you talk about numbers than you, it's like, oh, I looked at his numbers and not really. Like, who are you fooling, really? Who are you fooling? Who are you trying to pretend that like somehow I need to get numbers from you? And just to be clear, people watch my videos and they know I have not been, going to people's live streams or whatever and trying to get them to engage and discuss. But in this case, you claim to be a Muslim. That is why I chose to actually call you out, because you claim to be a Muslim. If you say you're not a Muslim and you make your claims, you're just like an average non-Muslim talking about Islam. But when you claim you're a Muslim, you're pretending to be a person who's one of us, and in the same time make these claims. So people take these claims differently. No, we need to actually call you out in this case. So it's really funny when he tries to say I'm cloud chasing or whatever. Why would I need to do that with you? Why would I need to do that? What's the point of me doing that? So anyways, like we talked about the numbers, and people can see if I'm cloud chasing or whatever. Okay, let's see what else he has to say.
Man, everything is like, bro, I'm not gonna drop everything I'm doing to talk to some no. For what? Like, I'll talk to you about the topic. You're a Muslim, right? Like I'm Muslim as well. We can have a discussion on it, but I don't really give a talk about him, because here's the problem, right? With a lot of these guys, and this is why so many people don't like Islam. These come in and they talk to you in a condescending manner. Oh yeah, bro, I know everything. I'm gonna lecture you on Islam. I'm not here to listen to none of that shit. I don't give a what you think. I don't care, right? And then on top of that, you're here for personal reasons. You don't really care about spreading the ummah or any of this other. You're coming in for your own personal gain. That's why you got off stream right after, right? And you wanted to go ahead and just try to chase some clout. That's really what it comes down to.
All right, so honestly, I don't know what to say. I mean, he's like now talking about, he doesn't care about the ummah or whatever. It's like, how do you know my intentions? He just got on the stream for personal reasons. Like I said, if I wanted to clout chase, I'm not going to choose someone who has less number than me. I'm not going to do that. If I wanted to actually clout chase like you're claiming, right? It's really looking bad. And again, you keep saying, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know this guy. I've never met him. And it's really, it's a bad look. And you're better than this. I'm honestly going to say you're better than this as a person. So it's like you don't want to make yourself look like a person who outwardly lie like this. You have a bit of integrity. I've seen it. So I think you're better than doing that. And I mean, Sneako, he mentions, PBD attacked him or reacted to one of his clips. He mentions a debate that I had with this guy. Why is Sneako mentioning that? Is to highlight that, like, I don't need basically cloud chasing. I've had discussions with people before. I have people like this reacting to my content. So Sneako is kind of hinting these points to the people who are watching who have a little bit of an understanding or an IQ or whatever. And also he says to Sneako, I'm going to talk to you. You're a Muslim, I'm a Muslim. It's like these are discussions you just have with any random Muslim. No, he doesn't want to have a discussion with a Muslim that he knows is going to call him out on what he's saying. So he's like, okay, I'm going to talk to Sneako. Let's talk to Sneako. But what's going to happen here is going to be funny, because what Sneako is going to do to him, it's brilliant. And like I said, we're going to react to it now. So I believe the job is done. Now I don't even need to discuss with him anymore. There's no point of doing that, because Sneako did a really good job. And he is delivering the message that I would have delivered in this case, and brilliantly respond to the points that he was making.
So, okay, my thing is this. The United States is a Christian country. It was founded by Protestant Christians.
No, it's a secular country.
Well, here's the thing. So
we have freedom of religion. It's always
we do. But when they had the freedom of religion and the separation of church and state, that was instituted not just for freedom of religion purposes, but also because there are the fights between Catholics, Baptists, Protestants, etc. So what they wanted to separate the church from the state so that neither can corrupt the other. Does that make sense? Yeah. So like the separation of church and state was actually instituted to protect both institutions from corrupting each other.
The founding fathers had an opportunity to use the Bible and the Constitution, and they decided not to because it's a secular country. Because they wanted to make it fair.
reference God. They do reference God in there,
but they say God. They don't say Jesus, which is more universal. And they were very specific about that. Thomas Jefferson himself, he also said that he wants America to be for the Jews, for the Mohammedan. This is a quote: the Mohammedans. And for the
you call them Mohammedans?
That's what he said.
That's funny.
The Mohammedans.
That's funny.
I think it was common back then. So he specifically referenced that. Also in DC, there's a mural on the top on the ceiling with depictions of prophets and of different gods from all religions.
Are you sure? Because in Islam, they're not supposed to depict.
Yeah, they're not supposed to depict, but it's not. They weren't Muslim, but yeah, there is a depiction.
Are you sure that that's references like Islamic prophet? Like, because remember, we share the same prophets as them. So like they could we observe Moses, Jesus, Abraham, like we observe all of them as prophets. So look, my thing is
so look, this is brilliant. It's honestly brilliant. The points that Sneako brings up in this case. And look, he starts by saying, my thing is America is a Christian country. And then obviously instantly Sneako corrects that because that's not the case. America is not a Christian country. It's a secular country. The founding fathers actually were not all Christian. And what's funny is that there's even books written on this. You have a book called, for example, The Founding Myth, Why Christian Nationalism is Un-American. And it's by Andrew L. Seidel. And he kind of refutes this idea that they were like all practicing Christians or whatever, and they were quoting Bibles. He's refuting the whole Christian idea even, not just whether they themselves were Christians or not. The fact is they were mixed. They themselves had multiple different ideologies and ideas and belief systems. And that is why they didn't push the Bible on the Constitution. And that is why they wrote that it doesn't matter what your faith is, you should be free to practice your religion. They've mentioned explicitly, like Thomas Jefferson, other people, like that people should be allowed to freely practice their religion. And he mentioned Mohammedans, and he was like, oh, did he really call them that? That's what they used to call Muslims at that time. We have many letters of many people historically that refer to us as this, and from the Roman Empire and many other people as well. So it was not like he's mocking them or something. That was a common term that was been used. So yeah, so he clearly says that people should be able to practice their religion, including us. He mentions Hindus, he mentions Christians, obviously, everyone. And like Sneako said, they mentioned God. They didn't say Jesus. They didn't quote the Bible. They didn't make it about a specific religion. Their argument was a secular argument. The founding fathers of that country that you live in, their argument was a secular argument of separation between state and religion. And that every one of these people should be able to practice their religion alone. I believe Thomas Jefferson as well, he had a copy of the Quran himself. So it was not even an issue at all. There was not this idea of, oh, don't let Muslims practice or Muslims should not practice their religion or whatever. So Sneako makes a brilliant point. He refutes this idea, the argument that he's trying to make, oh, this is a Christian country. What makes it a Christian country?
We are guests here. This is not a Muslim nation. This was not founded by Muslims. Like at the end of the day, the host religion gets to assert a level of dominance, unfortunately, because they are the majority and they're the ones that founded.
But the founding fathers didn't intend for that. They didn't even say that. They didn't say they want Christian dominance. If they wanted Christian dominance, they would have included the Bible and the Constitution. They would have said Jesus.
Well, they did that, like I said before, to avoid issues between Baptists and Protestants and Catholics, because this was an issue back in Europe with the church and the state being involved and intertwined. But when they forged it, they didn't expect, oh yeah, we're gonna have freedom of religion, but let another religion come in and dominate. Like, let me explain. So, like, if you go to any of these Muslim countries, right? You can practice in peace, right? You can practice Christianity or your religions in peace, except for, I don't think paganism is allowed in any of the Muslim countries. That's a problem. But if you're a Jew or if you're a Christian or whatever, you can practice. But like, you can't like assert that religion openly, like praying on the streets or doing anything like that in a Muslim country.
You could pray in the streets in a Muslim country.
In huge groups?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, bro. No.
That's not happening. There's no example of that happening.
That's
of Christians not praying on the street.
But why do they not do it?
Because Christians don't pray on the street.
No, but if they did, why don't they do it then?
I don't know. It's just not.
Why don't they record themselves doing it openly in these Sharia law countries?
That's not Christian.
He's literally telling him why they don't do it, but he keeps telling him, why do they not do it? He's literally saying they don't do it because that's not how they pray. It's not the religion. In Islam, we can pray in public. We can pray outside. We can pray in the street. The Prophet ﷺ told us that that the earth has been made a place of prayer for me, i.e. for Prophet Muhammad, that wherever, any place that you can find that is pure and clean, you can pray. So that is something in the Islamic religion. But Christians pray in churches. They don't pray out in public anyways. But there are Christians who pray out in public, but when they say prayer, they just mean a supplication, what we refer to as a dua. They don't have even a form of prayer the way we do anyways. So like you cannot make this comparison. And again, you see, he again assumes, oh, the founding fathers intended this. The founding fathers intended that. But these are all intentions. Where is what they said? What they said is they didn't mention the Bible. They didn't say this is a Christian country. They didn't say only Christians should be here. They didn't say other people of other religions shouldn't be able to practice. They said the opposite. They said people generally, including Muslims, mentioning them by name, should be able to practice their religion freely. That is what they said. And I know you guys hate that so much, and it makes you angry, but this is what they said. So we're going to take what they said and not what you think they should have said or what they have meant. That's all assumptions. We can go by the facts. You people who talk about facts all the time. So let's go by the facts. The facts are clearly against you in this case. Now, if a group of Christians come in one of the Muslim countries and they pray together, or they say a prayer out loud or whatever, even though that's not of their habit, nobody's going to come and arrest them or do something to them. That's complete nonsense of someone who really haven't lived in Muslim countries for long. And I mentioned just a brief story that one time I was in one of the Muslim countries that has a Christian population. It was like one of the Christian holidays. I believe it was Christmas actually, or one of these main Christian holidays. And they actually had the people, because it was a big church, one of these big historical churches, and Christians were outside celebrating the holiday, and actually the police had put roadblocks, and they closed the road for no cars to cross until these people finish their celebration. And that was a Muslim country. There's many Muslim countries with Christian populations. Like whether you want to look at Syria, Lebanon, or you want to look at Egypt, or you want to look at any of these countries, they have a big Christian population. And they also have many, many historical churches. So it's really a bunch of nonsense that you're trying to say here. But, okay, anyways.
In practice.
Because they respect the country. They respect the host nation.
But
I'm saying that as Muslims, we should do the same. Like, this is not.
No, it's not because they respect the host nation. It's because they don't practice the religion. And those who practice the religion, that is not in their faith anyways, to pray out loud in public. We already answered that.
Our country, we did not found this country.
But look,
so
all different religions that people pray.
We got mosques. We could pray at home. Like, my issue isn't with praying. My issue is with openly praying and disrupting others. Okay. If you're openly praying and you're not disrupting anybody, I don't care. Like some dude in Dallas.
I was in Times Square. We weren't disrupting anybody. I was there on the front line. I made a whole vlog. We could watch it.
Yeah, bro.
There was no nobody was disrupted.
Here's the thing.
Not one person there complained.
I guarantee you that, of course, they're not going to complain because they don't want to be labeled bigots. But in New York City, where they're the reality is, people probably wanted to go there. I guarantee you, there are hundreds, if not thousands, of people that went there and like, yo, I want to take pictures of Times Square, and they're like, oh, these guys are praying. No, I can't go in now.
It was the section right in front of the stairs. It wasn't blocking the sidewalk. There's an open walking area, and it was that section. It was really cold that day.
Of course.
And we said, and the people were still like, Times Square wasn't shut down.
No, of course
it wasn't illegal. Like it wasn't like we had the cops or anything. We just all gathered there and prayed.
Here's the thing, man. Like praying in a symbolic Western location that's a tourist destination.
What about like Chinese festivals?
And disrupting.
That's a public display of their culture. I hear what about?
I'm not a fan, dude. Honestly, I don't think we should have any of these parades.
You shouldn't have parades.
I don't think we should have cultural parades. No.
There was just a Yom Kippur celebration in New York. They
walked out of here. It's
not going to happen, bro. Like New York is a very diverse place.
Here's the thing. I don't think we should be running any other flags. I don't think we should be doing any of these parades of where these come from. I don't think we should be doing any of that. Personally, I think it should be straight American nationalism, American flags only, no other flags. I don't think people should be openly practicing their religion, and I reserve Christians to be able to practice their religion.
Why not share the same out? Like there was the.
So have you heard this joke? So he's saying, look, Sneako tells him there's nobody who's disrupted. We were praying, nobody complained, and this guy's like asserting dominance. You were in a symbolic place. It's just Times Square, man. Like it's just a place. We have billboards and people who are walking by, literally. And he's like, oh, you were there to assert dominance and you blocking roads and blocking. None of this happened. But this guy is just like exaggerating something. What he's doing is building a straw man. That straw man is Muslims were there. They were disrupting people. People were upset and annoyed. They were causing havoc in the place, and they were stopping people from walking, and they're disrupting people around them. That's the image he's painting. Sneako's literally telling him, I was there. I have a vlog. The thing is vlogged. So it's on video what happened. He said we took a small area near the stairs. We prayed as Muslims there. Nobody was disturbed. No issues happened. And then this guy's like, I don't want anyone to display any type of culture. The only thing you can talk about He's essentially talking about dictatorship. This is the funny thing when these people talk about free speech and being able to freely practice your religion. He says, I don't think you should be practicing your religion in public. What do you mean? I don't think you should be doing anything cultural in public. Just do what we like, just talk about his religion is nationalism. That's the truth. Just talk about America and American flags. Anything else, you should not be allowed to do that. So what's funny is like Sneako keeps telling him that I was there. We didn't disrupt anyone. We didn't stop anyone. And let me tell you something. That in Islam, you're not allowed to pray. Prophet forbade directly from praying in roads where people are walking by or going. Shouldn't be blocking the road. Prophet directly told us that we shouldn't be doing that. What else do you want? So, and even some scholars, they say that your prayer, if you are in an open road disrupting, your prayer is not accepted. That is the opinion of some jurists, actually. So Muslims don't believe we should be blocking roads. And this is not what they did. This is what those Islamophobes, the videos that they're circulating on Twitter and whatever. Oh, look, they're taking over the country, whatever. And you're just repeating their talking points. But in reality, that didn't happen.
Like, I think we need to go back to hardcore nationalism, America only, one flag policy, none of this.
One flag policy?
Yeah, like one flag, America flag only.
What about freedom of speech? That doesn't make sense. Like, there's freedom of expression is the core tenet of being an American.
Of course. But I think having parades is not,
Parades is part of speech.
It is a part of speech, but I don't think, look, you should be able to freely express yourself to a degree. But when we're sanctioning.
To a degree?
To a degree, yes.
So what's the degree?
The degree is once it starts to interfere with American nationalism, I think that's when you start running into problems. Because we have
no more free speech.
We don't have, no, we have free speech. But
you saying we shouldn't?
No, I'm saying we have free speech, but obviously there's always limits on free speech, right? Like, for example.
Okay, look at that. Like I said, his religion is nationalism. He spoke it clearly. These guys, day and night, be telling the people, we are the bastions of freedom of speech. Like, our main cause is freedom of speech. Is the First Amendment. Is what the founding fathers wanted. Free speech, free speech. These people are censoring our speech. And this guy literally says, let's censor everything against nationalistic views. They should have no speech except that which is in line with nationalism and talks about nationalism and pushes nationalism. What kind of a joke is that? And you see, this is them clearly showing their double standard. And if I had a discussion with him, this is what I would have showed. Is that you are going against what you keep talking about 24/7 and trying to convince the people that you're pushing. And Sneako did a brilliant job there. He said, isn't that free speech? Isn't that what you've been calling for 24/7 and day and night telling us free speech, free speech? According to them, he said it should have limitations. And like I said, and many times I mentioned in my videos, there's no such thing as absolute free speech. These guys, they talk about free speech, but when it serves them. So when he is insulting, like he's insulting 24/7 there in the videos, that is free speech, according to him. But if the speech is about something he doesn't like, no, that should be limited and restricted. That's not free speech. They use the free speech card when it is in their favor.
You can't run into free speech. You can't run into a theater and say, well, that's free speech absolutism. You can't run into a theater and say, fire, that's free speech absolutism, right? I would say we want to have free speech.
Incitement of violence.
Maximalism.
Maximalism. Incitement of violence, I think, is a fair thing to exclude from that. But parades aren't incitement of violence. It's a celebration.
It's an incitement to nationalism of another country that, quite frankly,
and that's against free speech.
I'm not going to say it's against free.
It's an incitement to a nationalism of another country. People praying, which is a religious thing. How is that an inciting to a nationalism of another country? Honestly, he's just talking things that makes no sense. He keeps saying, I think, I feel, I think it should be, in my opinion, I don't like nothing from his nationalistic, founding fathers that supports his points. Nothing from the Constitution, just his personal opinion. And now he wants to restrict all types of speech, and in the same time tell us, oh, I'm pushing free speech. But he says it's not absolute speech. We want maximum free speech. But he doesn't have a parameter. He says maximum free speech, meaning you can only talk about nationalism. How is that maximizing free speech?
Free speech, I think you should be able to do it to a degree, but once you're shutting off streets, right?
When we were praying at Times Square, we didn't shut off the street.
Bruh,
the streets were still open.
You're impeding people.
Nobody was impeded.
They can't walk in front of you when you pray. You and I know that. You can't walk in front of them.
Yeah, in that area in front of the stairs. They could walk in front, like,
okay,
on the other street, across the street.
Why did y'all pray like somewhere else, not in Times Square?
We wouldn't have fit.
This
is for everybody.
Why not pray in a mosque? There's plenty of mosques in New York City, all over the place.
This is for Times Square, for everybody to come together from all over the city. They all came there. We wouldn't have fit in a mosque.
Bro,
there was too many people.
Bro, pray at a mosque. Like praying in a mosque.
We wouldn't
like,
be able to fit.
I truly do think we need to bring patriotism back. We need to bring back nationalism back. And
what
I don't
else
think
is happening in Times Square? See,
Look, he honestly, this is like absolute delusion. He tells him, I was there. Nobody was impeded. We didn't disrupt anyone. We didn't block crowds. And we were too many to pray in a mosque. But we were too many. Pray in a mosque. He just repeats the same thing. And then he's like, oh, I believe we need to bring back nationalism. What's that got related? What's that got to do with what we're talking about? How is that related in any shape or form with what Sneako is saying? It's honestly, it's like a brilliant, like I said, job by Sneako highlighting these points, because he was there. He saw what happened. And this was an event that was in Ramadan. There is a one-time event where people came together and they prayed out in public as a form of showing the people, like the practices of Islam, that Muslims are not those group of people who try to do evil things. Because you people who hate Islam 24/7 talking about Muslims and mosques, they have these secret plans and doing. So they're showing the people that, look, this is how Islam is practiced. This is how Muslims pray. And if anyone is interested and has any questions, they can ask. That's all that was happening. A one-time event in Ramadan or something. And this guy's like 24/7, disrupting the places, disturbing people, closing roads, things that never happen. And he keeps being corrected, but he keeps repeating the point. And throughout this discussion, which I'm not going to play the whole of it, but he just keeps repeating the same thing over and over again. And it's crazy.
Upset about like praying in public. What else happening in Times Square at that time? Like Mickey Mouse, Elmo, drug deals, fights,
of course,
peanuts. Like, it's just stupid shit. Like rappers selling CDs. It's not like the alternative to what else is happening in Times Square besides praying is like, okay, were we really interrupting anything important? No. The only thing we stopped was a couple drug deals and Elmo and gorillas.
No, man, because here's the thing. Police got to go out there.
There was no cops.
We had no cops. Nothing.
It was just us, completely organized.
I still don't.
It wasn't sanctioned by the city. We just showed up.
I think, right, when you're praying and you're disrupting once your prayer and your worship starts to disrupt other people.
Drug deals and Elmo.
You see, guys, it's the same point again. I'm highlighting to you how he just keeps repeating the same thing because his point is defeated. He has nothing else to contribute. You're disrupting people, He keeps telling him, we didn't disrupt anyone. There's no police. Nobody complained. We were on the side. We didn't cut roads. And he's just trying to make a scene out of something that is not a scene. He's just trying to do his best to make a scene. That's it. And because he is repeating, like I said, those Islamophobic kind of talking points where they keep playing that time that Muslims pray, whether it is Eid prayer or these one-time events where a lot of Muslims gather and they say, look, they're taking over a country, they're doing that. And he fell for that bait, and now he needs to defend it. He doesn't want to just admit he's wrong. He just want to keep arguing the same thing over and over again.
It's still disrupting. Like, it's still disrupting. Like, I get what you're saying. Okay, drug deals in Elmo, but also families that might have wanted to walk in that area, people that might have wanted to take pictures in that area.
Times Square's like 3 blocks.
Now they got to listen to you guys pray out loud. Like, and this is what I'm trying to say.
20 minutes?
It's still disrupting, man.
Okay, but there's still disrupting. But parades happen all the time.
And the thing that kills me is like, y'all could just pray in a mosque. Pray in the mosque. Like, why does everyone have to? We do pray in a mosque too. Yeah, but pray in the mosque. Just pray in the mosque only. Like, why do you guys got to pray out loud, like out in front of everybody? I mean, it's a display of culture. Like, what about the Hare Krishna? Every park in New York City, if you go to Washington Square Park, Central Park, you'll see all these bald white people when they have the monk outfits on. They're like Hare Krishna, banging the drum. I see that every single day. In the train stations, in the park, they do it loudly in public.
Absolutely. Like he keeps just saying, pray in a mosque, We don't need to pray in a mosque. This is the whole point I'm making. Like, we're not going against the law. That's the first and most important thing. We're not going against the law. We're not going against your founding fathers and what they said. We're not going against the amendments of the Constitution. We're not doing anything wrong. But you're just coming and complaining about something which is perfectly within the law. And on top of that is perfectly fit within that secular system. If there is a law that says no religion should be practicing out in public, then you wouldn't have the Muslims practicing out in public. But like he said, you have these Hare Christians. Oh, by the way, in the UK, it's the same thing. They go walking in the streets and they play music and whatever, and they dance. It's the same thing. But it doesn't matter because you have the same. You have Jehovah's Witnesses on the roads. They have the stands everywhere. They even knock on people's doors. You have people. I can give many examples of religious people that are doing their things. Nobody comes and says, "Oh, they're asserting dominance," whatever that means. So it's really a ridiculous point.
Look,
like it's not a big deal. I just see them. I'm like, hey, what's going on? And they're like, hey, and they offer you a book.
And you're used to it because you're like in New York City. You're around these all the time. Like, my thing is I think once your worship starts to get to a point where you're disrupting other people, I think that's a problem. right? Especially
Nobody
when,
complained. Like, there was no,
they don't complain because they don't want to be called. This is a very, bro. You got to remember.
I think one of the things the editor should do is to highlight how many times he keeps saying disrupting. I mean, we need a disrupt counter in the screen, you know?
No one's going to complain because this is a controversial take. Like, not a lot of people are willing to sit there and say, bro, you probably shouldn't be praying. And I get attacked for it as a Muslim guy. I could only imagine someone that's not Muslim saying like, oh, getting attacked, being called Islamophobic.
How is it disrupting?
Most people are scared.
It's a public space. Like, so you can do that. You could pray. So look, public spaces, you can.
He says, I get attacked for it as a Muslim. I imagine people who are not Muslims. Nobody's attacked you. We criticized what you said, which is peddling this hateful ideology that these people are peddling, which is nonsensical and low IQ. It's not against the law. It's not against what the founding fathers said. It's not against the constitution. It's not against anything in the country. It's in a secular country, and you're allowed to practice it within the law and within the constitution. And that's why people call you out. Has nothing to do with the fact you're Muslim or not Muslim. Has a fact with what you're saying makes absolutely no sense and is wrong.
What I'm saying is, as a guest, right? Because we are guests here. I think
What does that mean? Guess.
We're guests. This is not a Muslim country. This is not a Muslim country.
Oh, then you could make an argument that's a Jewish country if they control 98% of the politicians.
Oh my God, this guy.
But I mean, it's a freedom of religion country.
Yeah.
It's a secular country.
Okay, on paper,
what do you mean we're guests? I'm a citizen here. I'm not a guest.
Yeah.
Wait, no. Hold on. I'm not a guest. I have a passport. I was born here.
Of course.
I'm a birth certificate.
What I'm saying
it's my
the
country.
Islamic faith, of course it's your country. But what I'm saying is that the Islamic faith is not a part of the American infrastructure.
Neither is.
Look, you are a guest. Yeah, of course, you're born here. When he's called out on this nonsensical take, because the overwhelming majority of the people that were praying in that square were Americans. They were people who were born in America. Their fathers and mothers are American, or they themselves are American, that hold the passport. So if you're an American and you're practicing your faith, whoever that faith is, you cannot keep saying you're a guest over here, you're a guest over here. You didn't have a group of immigrants gathering in the square and praying. It was a group of Americans. And you can be a Muslim American, a white person, because he keeps talking about race. You can be a white person, and you can be a Muslim. And there were white Muslims in that gathering praying, and they're white American Muslims. Faith and race is completely different things. And then he's saying that your faith is not a part of the country, nor is any other faith. That's the point we were making. It's a secular country. So Christianity is not a part of the constitution, it's not a part of the country. And nor is Hinduism or any other faith. So your argument falls apart on its head. So stop making and peddling this idea. You're a guest. He's not a guest in the country. He is an American who accepted Islam. And many of the people who were there were the same. Either they were born there and they were Muslims, or they were people who accepted Islam and they're Americans. So none of them are guests.
I'll say that, yeah, it's a Christian majority country, but it's not a Christian country by definition.
I think this is a Christian country.
But there's no paperwork or any, like, it's not in the Constitution.
It was found, it's not, they have God in it.
Even when you pledge allegiance, as an American, I grew up
pledge allegiance saying, but God, God is mentioned in the
Pledge allegiance. Do you say Jesus? They believe.
You say God.
You don't say Jesus.
You say God. You don't have to say Jesus, because
you don't say the Holy Spirit.
To them, God and Jesus are synonymous. Synonymous.
Yes and no. Actually, if you talk to a Christian,
it depends on who you talk to. Yes,
yeah, being honest, bro.
But they look at God and Jesus as the same. Like, because he's the Son of God. So
no, this is really looking bad now. There's already surveys in this in America where they ask Christians, "Do you believe Jesus is God?" And the overwhelming majority of the Americans asked, they say no. Many of them, they would say the Son of God. This is what they believe. Like, even when those who believe in the Trinity, which Jesus is included in the triune God, but they will say he's the Son of God. And when they say God generally, they would either refer to the whole triune thing, or they would refer to the Father. But this is the thing. He's just like trying to clutch at straws. It's founded by Christians. Yeah, those Christians that have founded the country told you that everyone should be able to practice the religion. That's the argument. You want to say they were Christians or not, it doesn't matter. But they have founded that country to be secular. So don't come and say once they founded those Christians, they were Christians, but they decided that the country is going to be secular and people are going to be able to practice religion. So don't cry about that. You should blame those founding fathers. You should say the founding fathers are wrong because they should have made this a Christian country only. But they haven't done it. So don't complain about the facts of reality. If you want to be a nationalist, you need to follow what those founding fathers said. And it doesn't go in line with what you're preaching.
But it's your mentality approaching thinking that we're guests here.
Yeah, I think we're guests here. That is
Dude, Myron, we were born here.
No. The Islamic faith and the religion of Islam, you are a guest as a Muslim in the United States.
I'm not a guest in my home.
Bro, we are guests here.
We are guests here.
We were born here. Yes, but
Look, he keeps repeating the point. We are guests here. Sneako keeps telling him, well, I'm not a guest. I was born in this country. So have many other people. So, okay, so your argument falls apart if we were to say that the people who are praying in the square are not actually, if your argument is based on the gas idea, we already refuted it by saying that you are a citizen. But on top of that, okay, what if it was a group of people who were actually all Caucasian Americans who have their ancestry going back, all of them being in the country since everyone migrated to the USA because they're all immigrants anyways. But he has ancestry going back, and he himself is a Caucasian, and he accepted Islam and he's a Muslim. What if it was a group of white Muslims? Now your argument falls apart because it's based about gas. We are guests here, and he already responded to this point, so it doesn't support your argument. Nobody there was a guest; they were people who were born in the country.
Religion, our religion.
So now your faith makes you a guest.
Yes, if you're going to open, yes, to a degree, yes.
To a degree, or
yeah, because obviously everything is like nuanced, like nothing is absolute. But like the point I'm trying to make is that the Islamic faith, as this is not a Muslim country, so therefore,
so what about Catholics? Are Catholics guests because it was founded by Protestants?
I would say they're closer to.
So they're still guests.
I would say they're because here's the thing with Catholicism, Christianity, all of it, it's all kind of one. I look at them all as the same. Like they all believe in Jesus. They all believe in Jesus.
Well, they absolutely don't look at each other as one. We've had wars. You can look at like the whole Ireland kind of struggle that took place, and now like you have Northern Ireland and whatever for a reason. You've seen wars and wars and wars and fights between the Catholics and Protestants, and millions of people dead. It's not just a simple disagreement. They completely excommunicate each other from the faith, many of them. If you speak to overwhelming majority, especially the practicing ones, they'll tell you to excommunicate the others from the faith. Because if you want to look at the Catholics and how the practices, whether it's like the role of the fathers in the churches of forgiveness of sins, or the role of the Pope, the infallible role that he needs to be followed, that the Protestants will completely reject. Not to talk about the Filioque and all of the other creedal differences, or the number of books, that they have, 73 versus 66 with the Protestants. The list goes on. It's not as simple as that. And you cannot compare that to Muslims, for example, where they have, like, for example, two groups, Sunnis and Shia, which many people think about that. Because the Shias are less than 10% of Muslims, number one. And number two, we don't have different book. We believe in the same God, same prophet, same book. It's not the same. So it's a very bad comparison if you make that comparison.
Here's the thing. Hindus, Jews, Muslims, we're all guests in America. Being honest, we all are. I'm not just saying this is as Muslims we're guests. I think.
What about minorities? Are minorities guests in America?
Like, what do you mean minorities? Like blacks and shit like that? Or
anybody not
Asians?
White? Anybody not white?
Yeah, I mean, I would say yeah.
We're also guests.
Yeah, white people built and founded this country, bro. We're all guests here.
Okay, so America is entitled to white Christians only. They're the only non-guests here. So you have to be
founders.
To be a true American, you need to be a white Christian.
I never said that. I never.
You said everyone else is not a guest.
We are Americans, but we are guests here because we did not found this country. We're Americans, but like we're not the, I guess, original Americans.
Okay, so what about Europeans, like people with second-generation Europeans who came here?
Well, I'm talking about like the people here that like their family's been here for generations, fought in the Revolutionary Wars, whatever.
Okay, so if I'm a white guy and my parents immigrated here after World War II, and I'm a white Christian, and my parents are from Germany. Right.
And you came here after World War II.
Am I a guest?
I would say from framers' perspective. If you came like you were here in the 1700s, like if you have lineage back to like the colonial individuals.
What is that, like 5% of the country?
Probably not as much, yeah. I mean, probably
so
not.
Everyone's a guest here?
A lot, yeah.
So whose country is it? It's just those 5% of people?
I would say America is a white majority Christian country, and we are guests here. Yeah, that's what I would say.
So the only 95% of people here are guests.
Yeah, dude. Nowadays, yeah, with the mass immigration, yeah, you're right. Yeah,
95% of people.
A lot of them, yeah, a lot of them are guests.
But this is the interesting thing. He says if your faith makes you a guest, so he's essentially saying because the overwhelming majority, I would say, or you can look at how many in the country right now, because atheism and agnosticism is what is prevalent. It's not Christianity in the U.S. because it's become a secular country. So now he's saying, everyone of every faith, Buddhist, atheist, agnostic, Hindu, Muslim, Sikh, whatever religion you are, you're all guests in the country. It doesn't matter you have a passport. It doesn't matter that according to the Constitution that you are a part of this country, that you are a citizen. According to him, you're a guest just because you have a different faith. other than Christianity, the founding fathers never said is a requirement for you to be a part of the country. It's a ridiculous argument, just argumentation for the sake of argumentation, really.
Then only Protestant Christians should be the non-guests in America if it was founded by Protestant Christians.
No, because they're all Christians. I look at them all as Christians. Denominations. This is literally why the whole separation of church and state was a thing, was to avoid that problem, fights between themselves. So they literally instructed that in place to deal with that very problem you're talking about, which is like the different sects in Christianity.
That is completely false. If it was just about the idea of different sects in Christianity, they wouldn't have mentioned Muslims and Hindus and other faiths and said they're allowed to practice religion. They would have said, okay, it doesn't matter which denomination of Christianity you are, you should be allowed to practice your religion freely. That's it. Why would they mention other faiths? That is the thing. You keep arguing and making up an argument that is not in line with what they said and putting words in their mouth to try to justify your position. And, it's like, we know that's not what they meant based on what they said. We're going by what they said, not what they could have meant, and they meant this and they meant that. We're not going to go into assumptions here. We're going with the facts, and the facts are clearly against you.
Okay.
That's why that's why the separation of church and state was instilled, was to keep Baptists, Protestants, Catholics, and all these other guys from fighting each other, because this is the problem that they had in England with the Catholic Church and everything else.
So you believe we're guests in our own country?
I believe as Muslims we are guests in America, yes, because America is not a Muslim country like Saudi Arabia, like Egypt, like Sudan, like UAE, like Qatar. These are Muslim countries. When we go there, we respect and we don't say a word. When we were in Dubai, we had jalabiyas on. I spoke Arabic whenever I had a chance, right? We assimilated. We respected that culture, right? As even the first time before you reverted, we respected that culture because we understood we are guests there. I think Muslims need to exercise the same thing in the United States.
Yeah, I know, because we're literally visiting Dubai. Dude,
Yeah,
I was born here. Like, what do you? It doesn't.
Yeah, but the Islamic faith, we're American citizens, but the Islamic faith is not. There's
nothing. I mean, you're just making up America. Like,
we're 1% of the population. That
Like, again, like this idea of like, he's comparing. He visited Dubai and he's saying he wore the thawb. Nobody's forcing you to wear the thawb in Dubai, and the overwhelming majority of foreigners there, they're not wearing it. Plus, again, Sneako makes the point. It's a very simple, great point. You're visiting. You're not a citizen born in that country with a passport. This is not the same thing. You're making a false equivocation there, clearly. Then on top of all of that, he keeps comparing Muslim countries to the West. If both of them operate in the same way, then why are you keep claiming to us that America is superior ideologically, and you keep criticizing our countries for not having free speech and all of these things? The Muslim countries do not operate with the same laws that you operate with. You operate with the absolute idea of free speech. Everyone should have free speech and freedom for religion and expression. These are your laws. So when we say there are people in your country, they are citizens of that country, they are following these laws. You cannot come and complain about a Muslim country that has different set of laws because they operate on a different worldview. So he keeps making the false equivocation. The same thing he did with comparing Times Square to Mecca. Mecca is obviously a place only strictly for worship and for Muslims. So you can do pilgrimage and you can do practices of worship. People go to Mecca just to pray and do pilgrimage. That's the whole purpose of going there. We have Mecca, and all of it is a sacred place. You can say is a haram. Now you can compare that to the Vatican or something like that. That's a closer comparison. You cannot compare Times Square, which is just a random place with billboards of advertisement, to Mecca. Anyways, in the end, the discussion keep going on in the same circle. Myron is just going to keep repeating his points over and over again. And this is it. It's honestly, Sneako did a great job highlighting how he's strawmanning the position by keep saying disrupting and not disrupting. That's not what we're doing. That's not what we're planning to do, or we're saying we should do. How his position of this is a Christian country, how it's not in accordance to what the country is and the constitution is and the founding fathers were. So his position is invalid. The idea of being a guest and how it does not function and it's incorrect. In reality, it's an absolute demolition of the ideology and the argument that he was trying to push forward. And honestly, great job from Sneako there. People are welcome to go watch the rest of the discussion on their own if they want. I mean, there's nothing really more important or interesting that is added there. It's just what I showed you is just the gist of the discussion. He just keeps repeating the points while Sneako's already refuted these points because he has got nothing else to show. So I'm glad Sneako's already responded to these things. So I don't need to really have a discussion with him anymore since these points are already responded to. And that was the purpose in the beginning. And this is a dangerous idea to keep pushing forward this narrative, which I believe they also mentioned this later on in the discussion. How Sneako will mention this brilliant point that you're just pushing these agenda. That's what you're doing in reality. You're just pushing their talking points, whether you like it or not. And what you're doing is you're creating this fuel where you're having people focusing on the Muslims, which is exactly what they want. What does Satan Yahu talk about 24/7? What do these talk about 24/7? Is Islam. You want to talk about 9/11, or you want to talk about any of these things, you want to talk about Iraq, all of it was about Muslims and Islam. The number one enemy, and this is the only thing I'm going to end with, this is the most important thing I'm going to end with, is the number one enemy for Zionism is Islam, and it has always been Islam. And since this is the case, and Islam was always the number one enemy for these people, then it must be the truth. Because all of you agree that those people are evil, and they're pushing forward an evil agenda. So those evil people, if their main enemy is something, then that enemy should be good, must be good. Or you're telling me the enemy of evil is another evil. And that is an impossibility. So what all of you can see here is that you're pushing forward this dangerous agenda, which is already there. The hatred for Muslims, which has been already spread by this propaganda, by those and many people for tens of years. It's been pushed. And Sneako will also mention a brilliant point. I'm just going to quickly mention it. Is where he will talk about how after he prayed, he wants some people talk to him and whatever, and he explained to them, some non-Muslims, oh, we're just praying, it's Ramadan, and people said that's cool. So what we're doing there is we're destroying, and that's the point Sneako is going to make. We're destroying these bad, biases and preconceived notions that they already have about us as Muslims. When we pray out in public, like I said, we show people this is our faith. We're just praying. We're submitting to God. We're not saying anything crazy. We're not doing anything crazy, and this is what Islam is about. And we are making people curious about Islam more, so they can learn and get educated. And that is how you have harmony in society. So you just stay in the mosque, and you just stay there, and nobody should be able to do anything except talk about nationalism. That is your religion. It is nationalism in the end. In the end, like I said, great job by Sneako, fantastic job. And may Allah Azza wa Jal bless him and reward him. And look, guys, like I say many times, a lot of people can be critical of Sneako. He's doing this, he's doing that. We all have sins. In the end, he's doing a lot of great work. And as you can see, he's doing a lot of fantastic, great work. And none of us is perfect. And we should look at our sins first before we do, keep criticizing people and looking at every single thing that they did or didn't do. But in the end, may Allah Azza wa Jal guide everyone. May Allah even, I don't have any problem with Myron. May Allah guide him and bring him back to the faith. And the purpose of this video is not me having a fight with him or argument. I was going to have a discussion with him. Same way I'm responding to his points right now. And that was the purpose. But since that purpose is served, there's no need for me to comment on it anymore. And yeah. All right, guys. Inshallah, I'll see you in the next time or in the next video. Assalamu Alaikum.